Toriano Sanzoni, the Wolfkeeper, owner of Wolfkeeper University. We've been in business for 20 plus years.
Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you can maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go, because I want to make you feel, I want to just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about. Right now, the Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Your boy Toriano Sanzoni. Yeah. Chanelli Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go.
Everywhere, but they don't think that someone's doing something about it. So I just totally commend you all. And too, when you're a JD, and I think just putting that energy out there of us doing this show. Susan Russell, who was director of animal care control here in Chicago, who's a fabulous person, who's also a JD, super smart woman and super into cats. She reached out, which I got to reach back out to her about. She wants to come on the show too. So
Chicago has a lot of great programs.
Yeah, but I'm just loving the fact that this kind of power, brain power, marketing power, people like yourself, Sterling, all the other prior guests that could be doing anything else in the world, but you're out there dedicating your time and energy to saving a creature that quite commonly is underestimated.
Well, one of the things, you guys, that motivated me, because I had volunteered at a local shelter for about 3 years, and when I left there, and I'm lucky, I had the time to go around. I went to a lot of conferences. I talked to a lot of people. And I realized that if you could do that, really in our area in North Jersey, the animals that are outside that need the most help are cats. There's not a lot of, there are stray dogs running around in New Jersey, but not most of North Jersey. So cats are the animals that need help. There aren't a lot of shelters, and shelters then, even municipal shelters, say I'm full. So I realized that cats were the animals that needed the help the most. And after I did the research and I talked to people, and I'm a lifelong learner, you got to be if you get through law school, I realized that if I was going to do one thing, it was going to be I was going to learn to do TNR, because I became convinced, despite the fact that I did not know what I was doing, what I was getting myself into, that I wanted to do the thing that was at the beginning, that if you do it at the one, you fix the cats, then you're really going to prevent a whole bunch of other problems. And so, you know, I don't think it's a good idea to start a nonprofit when you're 60. That's what I did. It makes you a little tired, but it was absolutely the right thing to do, and the need is still so great. So that's a little bit of why I started out, because I knew just intellectually how important TNR was.
Wow. And that I mean, so do you still practice law?
I don't. I get asked by a lot of people to do a lot of things, but I don't practice law, and I haven't for quite a while. My husband got sick. He died in 2004, and I was blessed, and I stayed home and took care of the kids, and I've been a volunteer for about 20 years now, and you know, the last 4 years or so, well, really like the last 7 years, it's been dedicated to animals and now to TNR, because I want as many people as I can to touch, to understand how we can help community cats and how that's going to help everybody. If you like cats, if you hate cats, TNR is a good thing.
And what do you mean by that when you say how it can help everyone? Because that's a reoccurring theme that's been coming up.
Right.
I know an answer to that, but it's kind of, I just want to hear it said.
Well, everyone's a pretty broad term, right? It's everybody. But there are, if you are somebody who just sees cats and you don't know what to do, but you learn what to do, it's helped you, right? If you are a local municipal ACO and more people do TNR, then you're going to get fewer calls, and there's going to be fewer sick animals out there for you to pick up. If you hate cats and you don't want to see them growing in your neighborhood, this is going to help you. And if you care for cats, but you don't really know what to do other than feed them, but all of a sudden the population in your backyard explodes, it's going to help you too. I guess if you live somewhere where you never see a cat, maybe TNR doesn't really matter to you, but really, even those people, everybody I talk to who cares at all about animals, and I think there are a lot of people, I know there's been studies done, and this is something Stacy LeBaron, I'm sure, could address off the top of her head, but there's been studies done that say that, you know, people don't want animals to be euthanized. So they don't want outdoor cats to go to shelters. Outdoor cats that are feral, that haven't been socialized, they can't be adopted out. So they want something else to be done for them. And we certainly don't want people killing animals. Just the mental stigma of that is horrible. And we don't want to spend the money on that. Why wouldn't we spend the money on spay neuter? So I guess, Toriano, that's why I mean that it helps everybody, because there's so many benefits to it. And I guess finally, and CPAW New Jersey, our nonprofit, we say TNVR instead of TNR. And the reason we do it is because there's a lot of myth that cats are the carriers of rabies, and that's just not true. First of all, there's not a lot of rabies in North Jersey. When they are, it's raccoons. But if you say that once you help the outdoor cat, it's been vaccinated, there's the perception then that public health has been improved, which it has. You're really helping the cat more than anybody, because it's the cat that's going to get bit by the raccoon.
But Karen, it is true that a cat can steal your breath, though.
Pardon?
It is true that a cat can steal your breath.
What does that mean? Where did you hear that? I think you're just trying to get a laugh out of us. That is not true.
That's a known
Cats are really good with babies.
If your cat gets by a baby, they can stand above them and actually
No.
the baby.
No. You know, people think that about outdoor cats too. They think like they don't want them near schools because they think that feral cats are going to chase the kids down the street. Those outdoor cats are as scared of you as you are of them. They are not going to be chasing you.
Right.
That's so funny. I hadn't heard that one in a while.
I still get that one a lot. I still get the still in the breath, the bad luck. I get the bad luck deal.
Yeah.
I get a lot of it.
What does that mean? I haven't heard of that. I don't like cats.
You haven't heard of the still in your breath deal?
No.
You ever heard of that?
People feel like that you have a baby and the baby has the milk on the breath and the cat wanting the milk will come stand over the cat and take their breath away, some magical move or something and hurt the baby or even kill the baby. That's actually been going around. Yeah, but it's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, and in a way, it's good that October is Cattober month, because October is a month when, with Halloween and all the myths and everything, a lot of people will say, like, don't even adopt out black cats this month because people will just want to torture them. And unfortunately, and it's not just true with dogs, cats are used in fighting and bait and everything. So I don't know that I believe that too much. I think you can do great adoption counseling, but this is a month where those myths kind of come alive just because of the holiday.
You know what?
Do you get that out? Do you get that out there a lot, Karen, where you are? As far as in Halloween, you get a lot of people that they adopt and then dump black cats because it's fun for Halloween real quick. And
I think that maybe that used to be the case, but I think now good shelters are aware of it, and I think people just, pay more attention. But still, New Jersey's like every place else. There's cats on Craigslist, and who knows what people are doing with them. And, that's really unfortunate. That's why, again, every time I hear all these stories, I think, let's just spay neuter more cats, because I don't know what Stacy said when she was on from Community Cats podcast, or Sterling, what you tell people, but especially coming up in the winter months, 3/4 of kittens who are born outside die.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Especially in the cold areas. I mean, you got hot areas where kitten season is basically year round. LA, Florida, kitten season is year round. But then you have areas like Minnesota, Chicago, where in the winter months, like you said, Karen, they freeze out there. They can't survive out there. It's too cold.
Yeah, and the thing is, people say that in hot areas, kitten season is all year round, but not in cold areas. I think kind of the opposite. I think everywhere is kitten season all year round. You have a couple of warm days. Males, until they're neutered, they're going to travel a long time to find a female, a long way. I just think, unfortunately, in the winter, we don't know it as much because I think more of the kittens die. And that's sad, but that's what I really think is going on. I mean, we're starting to find even more kittens now, and that's why when COVID hit in March, it was so hard this year because we'd had a lot of warm days, December, January, February, and we all knew there were going to be a lot of kittens in North Jersey.
Yeah, I'm seeing more now because people weren't as active in TNR. Like, I'm seeing more. I think I've ran across more kittens, and I knew it was going to be kind of bad because nobody's been able to really go out. I haven't been out as much, and a lot of people that I do rescue with, the clinics haven't been open, so it's been a little difficult.
Yeah, we were lucky that our clinics opened up, but spots, appointments are hard to get. So we're working really hard, Sterling, to get 10 cats every Monday. That's our plan. It's a lot for us. We have to work 2 or 3 different locations. And it's a lot of money, even at $55 a shot. That's $550 a week. We got to make sure we can raise some money for us. So.
Wow, that is a lot of money. When you think about.
But if you think about the alternative, and that then you got 10 cats out there that they're not going to be procreating. They're not going to need to go into a shelter, and we're lucky. We do just TNR, but we work with local rescues that take in kittens. So we always try, and one of the shelters we work with will take the kittens in. So we try to get the kittens placed, but mostly we trap them, we neuter them, and we put them back out.
When do you think that started? I mean, like, what year did TNR really start?
It was before I was born. I know that for sure. I know.
Wow, I didn't think it was that old, Sterling.
Oh yeah, it was a woman. It was a oh.
Oh my God, that was bad. I'm so sorry.
Sterling,
Now I'm embarrassed.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant. I am so sorry.
I'm on.
Wait a minute.
Look, I was about to answer, and I was like, "Well, wait." No, yeah, I was born. I was born in 1980, and it was. I know it started before 1980. I know.
Well, we'll all have to look that up, so when we come on the show again, we'll know, Toriano.
Because I don't really recall. I mean, I recall it first really hearing it in Chicago probably was like 2004, 2005. I mean, no one was really like. I mean, we probably have like two or three major cat rescues. I mean, there's some people doing cat rescue, but that's the interesting thing too. Why just backing up for a second, Karen, I didn't even think about that, the significance of this show doing it for the month of October, because it's Halloween month, especially for people that are hardcore into Halloween, that start Halloween. October 1st gets here all the way to like November 1st. They're all about Halloween and cats and black cats and the different things. I know that black animals are like the last ones to get adopted in shelters.
Yep.
That's true for dogs. I'm sure it's true for cats. Probably even more so for cats. But there's a lot of just misconceptions of the animal, of why they're why they're outdoor, kicked to the curb, and things of that nature. But I want to say in Chicago, it started late, which is why I'm so fascinated, stumbling accidentally into wanting to do this for the entire month, because because you're spending money on something and putting it back in the wild. It's not like you're spending money and then saying, "Oh, hey, come adopt this cat," because you can't. Is it true you can't make a feral cat a house cat, right?
Well,
Go ahead, Sterling.
Me personally, I believe with the time and space, you can socialize almost just about any cat. But no, for the most part, a lot of cats, they want to be outside. You're not going to be able to bring every cat in the house and do that. So it is better that a lot of cats, that they be out, they stay out, and just be in their colony where they are. Returning them back to their colony is like a big deal, because a lot of people try to relocate. You have to have a proper acclimation unit. But for the most part, you do have a lot of cats. I can't say that you cannot socialize a cat and bring it indoors, because I've done it myself, but it's going to take a lot of time and space, and there is still a lot of cats that would prefer to be outside.
But
part of it, I agree with that, and everything in life's a trade-off, right? Like, we're here today together because we appreciate the opportunity to use your followers and your voice, Toriano, to talk to people. But from my perspective, the months that it might take you to do that, and the care and the feeding and having it in, when you only have a few volunteers and a little bit of time, we've chosen to just spay as many as we can. I always say to caregivers, first of all, if you're a caregiver, you love that outdoor cat just as much as Sterling loves that white cat on his lap. Yeah. You name them, you talk to them, you love them. And it doesn't matter that you can't touch them. And over time, I think even those cats they'll come up to their feet, or especially, and there's a bond there. And I'm sure it's the same way with dogs, that there's, dogs that are less friendly than others. So you do love them, but for example, the one thing it's a good fact to know, female kittens become feral. Their window of socialization is shorter because a kitten can become pregnant at 16 weeks.
Wow.
So we try to get kittens certainly before 12 weeks, but if you're a female kitten and nature made you be able to get pregnant at 16 weeks, you got to start becoming feral. You got to start learning how to protect yourself. And so,
it's almost like
nature just gives that female kitten the ability to be able to take care of itself in the wild. That's another reason why, just genetically, I guess, you do want to get kittens sooner rather than later, so that they're easier and they can acclimate to humans.
Wow, that's quick fun question that I'm sure you have the fun fact answer to. So when you take these cats, if you don't return them right back to the same location, will they make their way back to that location?
Gotta return them to the same location.
Yeah, they go. It's dangerous not to return them back to the same location because, for one, they're going to try to get back to where they came from. They're naturally, instinctually going to try to get back to where they came from. But then it's dangerous. I mean, other cats, when new cats come into a new territory, the cats there feel like, okay, they come in to steal food or steal mates. So this is basically competition. It becomes dangerous for a cat coming to a new colony. So you gotta return them back to their colony. The only, like I was saying earlier, the only other thing that a lot of people try to do is barn cats with proper acclimation units where, cats are relocated to barns to help with the rodent control, but that's not a guarantee. That's still not a guarantee. It's a lot of times, even with a proper acclimation unit, and the cat is there for a month to get used to the smells and the sounds, they still may run off. They still may not stay in that area. So even relocating to a barn is
it's and that
barn. A barn?
Yeah, we have in northern Jersey things called barn programs. And so there's actually one group, but they stopped doing it during COVID, where they would interview the barn, the farmer. It can also be done in industrial complexes, but, barns have more space. And then, the cats have to meet certain criteria. They have to be healthy and fixed and not too old so they can survive outside. And then they actually put them in not crates, but they'll have a fence or something so that they can have them there for 3 or 4 weeks so that they get used to the people and the smells. And you try to do it so that at least you bring 2 cats together. You wouldn't just bring a sole cat. But relocation is really hard. I mean, we get asked all the time, I just want these cats out of here. And one of the biggest challenges is to listen to people enough so they feel heard, but then try to convince them that this is the cat's home. Where you see the cat, it's the cat's home. Let's figure out how we can all live better together.
Wow. I just had that situation. Well, it's actually currently going on where a woman wants me to remove a cat from her location because it's fighting with the other cat. And I've, like you said, Karen, I hear her out, you hear her out, you make sure that they can talk. Because a lot of times people just want to speak, they want to talk about it. Yep. But trying to explain to her that once you get this cat fixed, it may calm down some of that aggression. Exactly. So the cat can come back, because she's just ready for me to just come and get this cat and take it away. And I'm like, I don't do extermination. I don't, that's not what I do. I'm looking to return the cat back to his colony. So we deal with that a lot.
I just want to chime in, Karen, what you said earlier. I mean, that's complicated, because it's like, one, you have to have some background cat psychology knowledge. I mean, like, if there's a town wherever in River Hills, Minnesota, and they have a cat problem, but they've never done trapping before, this is something where you need to call an expert in to at least get the program set up. Because I'm just listening to you all talk. It's more than a notion. There's do's and there's obviously correct. There's clear do's and don'ts regarding trapping. Cats. Right. Like a rookie might say, "Oh, what? Don't bring that cat back." Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring him over here, and now you have like the.
Most people still think that. People think that somehow they're going to give somebody a phone call. They're going to call their mayor or the guy they voted for on the local council, or they're going to call their shelter, and they're going to complain enough that somebody will just come and pick the cat up. And unfortunately, there are still organizations that do that. But when somebody's picking up an outdoor cat like that, what do you think is going to happen to the cat? It's not going to be a good ending. No. So actually, we're just going to be launching this Paws on the Ground operation. And we really want to try to create town-by-town teams. New Jersey is made up of like 650 communities, but to try to get a few people in each town so that people could be trained and they could be on their local neighborhood online groups. So when people have questions about cats, they could do the answers and they could talk about it. Because if you have somebody who knows how to trap and you have somebody who has some basic information about cats, somebody with some good customer service skills, and then you work with a group like CPAW, so we have some appointments, we have some equipment that we can lend. We can have local teams, we're going to call them Paws on the Ground, in every town. Because actually COVID has given us a lot of opportunities, I think, to make us realize that now the community needs to be the shelter, not the building. Let's not worry so much about all the buildings because we can't go into the buildings. A lot of shelters don't even let volunteers come in right now. So how can we raise awareness in the community to have the people in the community help? We've had a lot of luck training caregivers to learn to trap.
Wow. And I want to go back to what you were saying earlier, because some people just aren't into cats. They don't like
right.
Chanel, no, she doesn't. You're not a cat person.
No.
She was
but you love animals, right, Chanel?
I have a dog, yes.
You love animals, so you want animals to not suffer.
Yeah, but I'm not like. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Karen, but you brought up a good point, though. If someone's not like Chanel, who doesn't like cats, but you brought up a good point. Even if you don't like cats, that's still a reason to participate, because no one wants cats just in their backyard or overpopulation, especially if you have lawn furniture, because we were talking earlier in the show, like cat urine is like the devil's potion. I mean, it is probably one of the most difficult smells to get out. I don't know if there's anything.
It's horrible. It is horrible.
Well, not just cat urine, but cat poop. Like a lot of my friends that have dogs and stay in an apartment complex, even my little brother, his apartment complex, he like, man, my dog, when I walk my dog, they just want to eat cat poop all day. So, you know, the fact that every animal, even lemurs, the Atlanta Zoo has called me to come out because they thought that the lemurs were being hurt from eating cat poop. Like everything loves cat poop for some reason. So even if you don't like cats and you have other pets, it's still good, because vaccinating these cats, fixing them and vaccinating them will prevent your dog from going out eating some crazy whatever disease poop.
Because it's harmful for the dogs, right?
Oh, well, yeah, if they're not vaccinated, I mean, what all does the cat have? If this cat hasn't been trapped, neutered, returned, if it hasn't been vaccinated, there's no telling what's in that cat's poop. What's going on with that?
Yeah, worms, whatever, parasites.
Yeah. So doing this, vaccinating and doing this helps. It helps calm that down a lot too. So, yeah, whether you like it or whether you don't like them, it's still humane population control, and it helps. It helps a ton, like Karen said.
Karen, I want to ask you a question I've been asking each guest, and you with your JD powers, along with all your cat experience, I pass you the wand to say this new cat legislation will happen in 2021. What would that legislation be that would better cats in America? Because there's over 90 million registered.
Well, we would, the ordinance would acknowledge that community cats are, they're not wildlife. They're a legitimate creature that you can't ban feeding them. And that some people might want to have some real generic feeding guidelines in that legislation, because we do want caregivers to be responsible. We don't want them to leave food all over. We don't want them to leave dishes all over. So in a way, the caregiver sets the tone for the community, and will they accept the cats by how they can care for them. And they also would say that if you find a community cat, your local municipal officer is going to help you TNR it, or they're going to work with a local group. I'd like it TNR mandated. I'd like everybody to have to do it. So when you find that cat, you get it fixed, you put it back, and if there are kittens there that can be socialized, there's a place for them to go, and that we realize that these cats are okay members of society, and that we live with them just like we live with other outdoor creatures. I mean, I guess that's, if I could wave a wand, that's what I'd like.
So
how does that sound, Sterling?
I have a question. What if the cat keeps coming back? Because we have like cats all over our alley now. I'm not sure what's going on, but my next door neighbor, she had a cat that kept coming to her porch. So my other next door neighbor came and trapped the cat with food. And I think he took it to the doctor to make sure that, it was okay. But he now wants to make it a pet. So, is that okay? I know that you mentioned before that, you're supposed to put the cat back and they're, back where they found it from.
Well, if a cat outside, this cat probably was somebody's house cat. They probably either let it out, in and out, or they've abandoned it.
Right, yeah, it was on my porch, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do with you, so you're gonna have to go to the next door. I'm like, I don't.
Chanel, I can tell you this though, Chanel. A lot of what I do with a lot of people, where the cats, I return the cats, and they're gonna be in the area. I have, like at Home Depot, some Walmarts, you can get fake coyote urine or different deterrents.
Yeah, I was just telling my friend that.
Yeah, and you can, and it's not something we'll smell. You won't smell it, but the cat will assume, okay, in this yard is some coyotes. So I'm running around this neighborhood, but I don't want to necessarily go in that yard.
That's a good idea. I never did that before.
Coyotes.
That's a good idea.
But see, my next door neighbor, she was feeling sorry for the cat. So she had made a little pallet for him, had food for him. And I'm just like, girl, you're going to bring all of the cats to the yard. We don't need a cat. And Bentley's barking. He's going nuts. I'm like, it's too much.
This is the thing that people, the cats are coming because somebody's feeding them and they're hungry. Yeah. So that's what's going to happen. So there's nothing wrong with feeding the cats if you feed them responsibly, but then you got to figure out how are you going to get them fixed. Because over time, the good thing is that if the cats came and you got them fixed, they'll create their own territory. So they won't let anybody else come in. And then because they're all fixed over time, their population will go down. So, I know, and then once you fix them, the yowling stops, the fighting goes down, there's no more babies, and gives your neighbor some joy to feed those cats. We just got to make sure they're not going to just keep having babies until all of a sudden 15 turns into 40.
Yeah, he had a crate. Sorry, go ahead.
You said more than once. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You said it more than once. I'm just curious. Responsible feeding. What does that mean? They're going to feed them, be responsible.
Usually, at the very base, because this is so hard for some people. I mean, some people are afraid to feed. They're feeding the cat early in the morning. We had a feeder, a woman who was in her early 60s in Passaic, New Jersey, and it was the saddest thing because she would get up really early in the dark, walk on the side of the road to feed her colonies. She got hit by a car and killed. And she was feeding, worried about feeding because the town is so against cats. And as a result, because she's doing it under dark, it put her life, obviously she lost her life to that. But we want to say to people, put down the food that they're going to eat at one time. So that's the first thing, and don't just throw it on the ground, put it in something. Now, best would be if somebody could wait long enough to fix it, to have them eat it all and then pick it up again. That's not always realistic because people are on their way to work. I mean, people who are doing this, they're doing it because they're really dedicated. But if you have a dish that's not going to blow away and you keep it clean, so you feed during daylight hours, you try to do that. Not everybody can do that, but you try. And especially at night, you pick it up. Because if you don't pick it up at night, then what are you going to attract? Other outdoor animals at night that you don't want around. I mean, you may not want the cat, but you also may not want the possum. Yes. Right? Although I don't know if you guys have possums, but
raccoons, possums,
those are some of the things. I mean, people should let you leave water out all the time, clean water. Cats need water. But those are the basics, Sterling. That's what I would say are the basics of responsible care of feeding.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I tell the other thing that I tell people is to you feed them at a certain time. You try to feed them at a certain time and then a certain location, away from the street, away from traffic.
That's a good idea.
Area. Because a lot of times the people that don't like cats, it's safer if they're being fed in bushes or somewhere where they're not necessarily in traffic or plain sight or near a street. That way it's safer for them. Other people don't see them because people will come and see a colony of cats and lose their mind if they don't like them. So it's good to make that feeding spot somewhere kind of hidden in some bushes and one certain location.
Right.
So I try to tell people that too, because like Karen said, if you just leave that food out and free feed or just scattered on the floor, you just invited every possum, raccoon, every other cat and everything hunting those animals too is probably gonna come. You're gonna have a jungle in your yard. So just throwing food out is not the move.
And that's what I've seen. There's a woman by our business who feeds them like pigeons. I mean, she's out there.
Yeah, my friend was
It's like Mary Poppins.
Throwing stuff
It's
on
like
the ground.
10 cats on a porch. I'm like, come get these cats before I come on the house.
In Chicago, we have the,
It's like a fiesta.
yeah, which increases our rat problem, which segues me to another question. Is it true that all cats are ratters?
Like catching rats?
Right.
Well, I mean, the crazy part about it, I don't believe that all of them just go to hunt and kill a rat. A lot of times they play them to death. A lot of times you'll see feeders wake up in the morning and they'll have a dead mouse at their door, and that's a cat bringing it a gift. The cat didn't eat it. The cat is bringing the feeder a gift. So a lot of times it's not even an issue. It's not even a matter of the cat just hunting and eating these mice. They'll play them to death, or they'll take them, kill them, and bring them as a gift to the person feeding them. So it's not all of them want to just hurt and kill a mouse, but they are. They probably are gonna go. They are hunters, so they probably are gonna go at least.
Right, they are hunters. They are predators.
Oh yeah, something's going.
And they're carnivores. Cats need to eat meat. That's why you really can't. I mean, a lot of my friends are vegan. Probably you guys have a lot of friends who are vegan, right? It's really cats can't really be vegan.
No,
they need meat.
Yeah, I've had people say that too. My cat gonna be a vegan like me, and I'm like, no, no, they eat meat.
So I'm just curious, like a city like Chicago, because we have a huge rat population. We have like #1 rat population in the country. But then we have this cat population. Why aren't the cats like taking out the rats?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're not in the same place. I mean, I think that the Treehouse Society does have a dedicated working cat program. I think that's what they call it in Chicago, a working cat program. I think those kinds of things it's like TNR, takes time, takes effort, but it's more education, more awareness. I'm sure your rat problem could be helped if people paid more attention to that and got some cats in more places, and people were willing, to take care of the cats and get them fixed and stuff.
And I'll say,
but I think there are working cat programs. And Treehouse Society, does that ring a bell? I think they're in Chicago.
Yeah. Treehouse. They're one of the largest that we have. But when you're relocating these cats, can you put cats in one location? Like say, for example, when I lived in Little Village, I've never seen so many rats in my life. Like my neighbor told me that he for sure had killed probably like 20,000 rats. Like there's no way. Yeah, I just averaged it out. Like I'm an accountant. I just average how many I killed per day over the last X amount of years. It's like a restaurant row. Could you then relocate cats to that area and the rat population would decrease?
Well, I'll say this, because certain areas that may or may not work, but where a big thing about it with rats and cats is they're scavengers. If you have an area, and I tell people in apartment complexes, if I come to the apartment complex and the trash is just exploding with stuff falling over the dumpsters, and it's just so much stuff to run in, then you're attracting cats and rats. And if there's cats and rats there and the trash there's just so much food and stuff left over, then the cats probably don't want the rats. The rats and the cats are probably eating fine together because the area is a mess.
That's a really good point.
You have to. I tell people in apartment complexes all the time, you have to get your trash area clean, and that's not just because of the cats.
More trash cans, yeah.
Right, and that's for people too. That's we should want to be clean.
It's
like
always
that too,
the people. Yeah. It's always the people.
Right. But the cleaner we are with that, I think the better. As far as rodent control too, is because the cats, if they all just eating out the trash and it's good food in there, They not messing
Exactly.
with the rats. They all eating good.
Right. That's a great point. If the cats and the rats, like, they have enough food, like, why are they going to?
Yeah, they're like, we can share this stuff. I don't have to go for that rat.
Right.
But you know, I think that, like, for example, in Branchbrook Park in Newark, I work with this nicest guy, John, and he's got it's you know, you go loop around this big beautiful park where they have all the cherry trees, more cherry trees I think than in Washington D.C. And you go in, and then there's a couple of big warehouses, and they have garbage there and trucks and, you know, fixing stuff. And he's got his little cat colony, so I go there every once in a while and I help him trap as more people dump cats, because people just dump cats there. They know there's cats. They dump them in the park. They think they can take care of themselves. And when I go there, I always see the family of raccoons too, because so the cats eat, then the raccoons eat, and sometimes he has to keep them away from each other. But you know, they can coexist. But he doesn't have a rat problem. He doesn't have a mouse problem. But they have one of the cats that got dropped off that was really sick. But our local spay neuter clinic really saved that cat's life. And luckily, we trapped him at the right time. That cat now lives in the shed where they store all the big trucks, and he's like their garage cat now. And he puts pictures of him on Facebook, and he's a big, smoky, gray colored cat. He's the nicest cat. So they can really become good companions, because a lot of times cats in locations like that are somebody's pet. Maybe they're stray and lost, but some people dump a lot of cats.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's super sad. That's why I'm happy that we're doing Cattober here on Wolfkeeper. Because to bring awareness, because I mean, even with me being in the industry for 20 years, I never really thought about the issues that cats have. Because, like I said, we know there's all kind of organizations that help dogs. Dogs, I mean, you could easily go to jail over certain things if you just
Right.
There's not all these cat legislations to think that the CPD is probably not going to be dragging you away in handcuffs over cat abuse, but you for sure
Very difficult to enforce animal cruelty, like with hoarding, and there's so many different things that happen with cats, and I just don't understand why it's not more enforced. And I feel bad when I hear about like a hoarding situation or something. I don't know about you, Sterling, but the bottom line is if somebody did it once, they're going to do it again, and something's got to happen. So those people can't keep getting cats, because it just happens again and again if the laws aren't enforced.
I've been dealing with a situation in Atlanta, and everything went crazy because of the pandemic. So I'm not sure where the court case is, but there was a loss or a court case where a gentleman kicked the cat here in Atlanta. He kicked the cat and put it on Instagram in slow motion. So when cat rescue people saw this, and they wanted him to go to jail, and I actually went to court with him to see, because it's nothing but a slap on the wrist. They don't care about that. Nothing is going to happen to this guy. So I was there trying to get them to understand that instead of just picking up paper on the side of the road for community service, he needs to come with my nonprofit and work with me so he can learn and not do that again, because it's just a slap on the wrist. There's no program for positive reinforcement. If the human goes to prison, we need positive reinforcement before we come back out. It's the same way with a cat abuser or a dog abuser. This man needs to have some type of positive reinforcement that includes cats and rescue, and not just, I'm picking up paper on the side of the road for my community service for kicking this cat. That teaches them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to, and we just knocked out a lot of information. Karen, thank you for running a nonprofit, for dedicating your time and energy. Where can a person find you? Where can they go help if they want to get involved?
That'd be great. So our website is www.cpawnj.org. It's CPAWNJ. It stands for Communities Promoting Animal Welfare. cpnj.org. They can email us at cpawnj@gmail.com. We don't have enough volunteers for a phone number. I get a little criticism about that, but I need people to put a little skin in the game and write something down and send me something, because I don't have the
people
resources
text
to
more
answer a lot of phone calls that people don't give me the information about. So
yeah.
Sorry, but we started out that way and we're still doing it that way. But we'd love to hear from you, and we're going to try to do more training, more Zoom training. I also teach cat behavior 101. I think it's important. I mean, TNR so matters, but if you had to do one thing, you would just make low-cost spay-neuter available for all animals, for cats, for dogs, for everything. And low-cost vet care is something there's a shortage of everywhere. Because a lot of time with cats, they get a cat off the street, they pick a kitten up, they adopt it, they take it in, they find out from the vet, oh, it's going to be $300-400, so they don't get it spayed. It's a male, it starts marking, they push it out. That cat becomes a community cat.
Right.
So if we'd had the resources and the education to get that cat fixed to begin with, you know, that's why nobody should be adopting an animal out unless it's fixed. But a lot of times people are still rescuing cats. I think the majority of cats that are adopted are still cats that people are just getting from outside or getting from somebody who their cat has a litter or whatever. They're not going to shelters.
Right. Wow.
Much, no.
And that
More information than you wanted. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome and amazing because, like I said, there's 90 million cats. I mean, it's a real thing that we don't think about, you know, animal welfare, especially with our cats and dogs. You know, the dog epidemic every year, United States of America spends $1.2 billion in dog bites. 1.2 billion. Like 900,000 people are critically injured, meaning you will need reconstructive surgery. You know, so between dog bites, you know, the amount that we spend on euthanizing dogs and cats every year, I mean, that money can be reallocated to a lot of other positive things.
Exactly.
That's just the United States of America. That's not including that, whatever that global number is. So, but it all starts right here with us as a family. Karen, right. I want to thank you so much. We want to bring you back in 2021 again, in March.
That'd be great.
For two-peat. Thank you so much. Trap King's in the house. Are you coming back tomorrow, sir?
Sterling.
You already know it.
Chanelly Nell making her debut appearance. And she normally is just behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, I don't like all of this spotlight, but I'm here.
No, and thank you. It was such an honor. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Hey,
great having you.
No, we appreciate you. Please thank everyone out there for tuning in to the Wolfkeeper Show. We will see you all tomorrow. There's only one alpha dog in that shoe, so go be true, and love somebody with all your heart.
Hey. Peace and love, guys.
Peace.